You now tuned in to the Gumptown Podcast. I'm your boy Doug B. We ain't got nothing to talk about, but we got something to talk about. Let's go. Good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 95. I'm your boy Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving this podcast a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of Better Than Average Tutoring. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm sure we'll all be inspired by his story. Let's chop it up with LJ Walker. LJ, how's it going, man?
It's going really well. How are you?
Glad to hear that. And all is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me on Gumptown Podcast. It really means a lot.
Yes, sir. Of course, we're here to talk about Better Than Average Tutoring. But before we talk about that, let's get to know the man behind the brand. What's your story?
Well, what's my story? That's a loaded question. So I'm 20 years old. I started Better Than Average tutoring when I was 16, 11th grade in high school. And I personally been tutoring since third grade. I know that sounds really, really crazy. It's kind of wild, but I've always been, smart. I've been in the magnet program, or I was in the magnet program all of my life. So I just started helping people in third grade with stuff that came really easy to me. And, I always tried to make it relatable and engaging for them so that they could really take interest in what they were learning. Kept that going throughout middle, high school. And, 4 years later, we're here today with Better Than Average.
Wow, you started tutoring in third grade. Where did you get that passion for education from? I'm assuming your parents instilled that in you.
So coincidentally, I did not have a passion for education. I was just naturally gifted with just being smart, I would say. I would say my mom really made sure that I took education seriously, but it was really something that just came natural to me. So I think honestly, just being in the magnet program, being around, so many different smart people and them taking education so seriously that I naturally just took, heed after that. But honestly, I remember when I was younger, I always said I would never be a teacher. So it's it's kind of funny how the tables have turned, now that I've adulted.
Right. No doubt, man. So you making use of your gifts, man, not running away from your gifts. That's very commendable, especially at that young age, just to identify that you were naturally gifted and that you were willing to help others, and it's transitioned perfectly into what you're doing now in business. But before we talk about business, I know right now, currently, you're attending AUM. Are you still at AUM, or did you already graduate?
So I am currently attending AUM. If all goes well, I should be finishing up with all my courses next year.
Okay, cool. What has that college experience been like for you?
It's definitely been a juggling act, having to juggle being a business owner as well as going to college. I'm thankful that, I pretty much had a lot of scholarships and stuff that kind of paid for my schooling. And, not very many people in my family personally have graduated with the college degree. So the college experience, it's been a very unique one, and it's definitely been a juggling act. But hey, anything I start, I like to finish. And so just really just trying to get to the finish line.
Yes, sir. That's a great mindset to have, man. Putting your mind to it, being a business owner, a student, about to graduate. Are you thinking of master's, or are you done after your bachelor's?
I honestly have not thought about what's next. My family and my friends always joke with me, and I'm like, hey, just trying to finish this after I get this degree. I don't know. I think I have enough school for a little minute. It may take me a break. I could definitely see me getting a master's in the future, but right now I haven't really thought too much about it.
Okay, hey man, nothing wrong with that. Take it one day at a time. Don't let me or family or anybody press you. I thought maybe you had already had it mapped out, but you're just taking it one day at a time. That's dope.
Honestly, taking it one day at a time. That's really what got me here today. So just really taking everything one day at a time, and just showing up every day and just seeing where life takes me.
For sure. So let's talk about Better Than Average Tutoring. It's pretty obvious what you got going on over there. Like in terms of grade levels, what grade levels do you all tutor?
So we tutor primarily K through 12. We do work with adult learners as well. And we also have like corporate partnerships where we work with adults. So our main focus here in house, of course, is the K through 12 age group. But honestly, we try to spread love, spread the education to all. If we have anything that we know that could benefit the next person, then that's what we want to do. So we've helped people get their GEDs. We've helped nurses make the minimum ACT to get into nursing school. We've done a lot of great work here over the years, but our main age group is the K through 12 audience.
Okay, that's dope, man. Helping those kids in grade school get the lesson and get up to par. And what do you enjoy the most about tutoring?
So honestly, I would say that what I enjoyed the most about tutoring is knowing that Better Than Average is a hub that people can come to get the tools that they need to succeed. And it's not just with the academics, just building the confidence as well. Like I feel like there's no greater feeling. It's like people or individuals come to us lack of confidence, not really thinking that they can do it. And just from working with us for a few months, it's like they turn that all the way around where they have the confidence, where they're doing well academically. So I would just say, just seeing individuals having that spark or knowing that they can do it, it's no greater feeling.
No doubt, man. And if this is accurate, what I'm looking at on your LinkedIn profile, so you started the company in September 2019?
I did.
Okay, so shortly after you started the company, March 2020 rolled around, the pandemic, a very tumultuous time. A lot of lives were lost. It was a very interesting time, a time of uncertainty. How were you able to pivot as a company during the pandemic?
So really going back to that, just showing up every day, really, now of course as we've grown, we look towards the future. But back then, it started off as just the after school thing. And so we just kind of did that. We showed up every day. We were consistent with doing that. And then the pandemic rolled around. I knew nothing about like virtual learning or anything like that. So I remember at the time, my girlfriend, she was like, hey, I was telling her like, hey, things about to get ready to shut down. I don't really know what we're gonna do, but I never panicked because I know that things will always kind of work out the way they need to. And so she was like, hey, try to look into Zoom. And so I looked into Zoom and we pretty much shifted our operations totally online and numbers grew during the pandemic. We were able to keep everything afloat. And honestly, that's pretty much how we survived the pandemic. Just being resourceful, being crafty, not worrying too much about everything, and things worked out better than I could have even imagined. So that's how we pretty much survived the pandemic.
Wow, man, that's dope. And I commend you for that, man. Like you said, two key things. You didn't panic and you were resourceful. And that's what
Right.
it's all about in times of crises. And like I said, I know it was a wild time for a lot of us and we were uncertain what was going to come of it. But for you to have just started the business a few months before the pandemic popped off, you were able to pivot. You said your numbers grew. And I just want to commend you, man, for not panicking.
Thank you. Thank you. That's definitely one takeaway that I want everyone listening is to know to not panic. Things normally work out so much better than you can even imagine. So just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm a, faith believing person. So I pray about everything. And hey, I was during the time just living my dream, just even being able to do what we were doing. And that came around and I was like, hey, that's just another curveball that life throws at you. So hey, we did what we needed to do. We were able to maneuver, and we're here today.
No doubt. And it's a part of you all's story. The fact that you can say, hey, as soon as we got started in business, the pandemic rolled around and we were able to make it through. So it just, like you said, things work out the way they're supposed to. And you all being able to pivot throughout the pandemic, during the pandemic, and you still standing 2 feet tall now, it just adds credibility to your company. Much respect.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. Take us back to your aha moment when you first had the idea to take your gift and turn it into a business.
Okay, that's a really good one. So I remember I was sitting in the shop with my mom, and idea came to mind to start a tutoring service. And so I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a sporadic person, but I'm really good as far as just I'll try anything once. And so once the idea came to mind, I pretty much was like, okay, I had been doing it, so it wasn't like I was foreign, but I never worked for a tutoring company before. I had never been tutored. I just knew what I had been doing over the years. So I got all the business stuff together. I remember my first week in my 11th grade year. That's when the normal paperwork is done with schools and stuff like that. So you're not really covering any like content. So I took that time. I was just drafting out all the business stuff, hours of operations, location, mission statement. I was just pretty much working on all the business basics. And so I took the idea. The first person to know was my mom. And, she immediately was like, boy, you don't want to own no tutoring service. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And so I showed her pretty much all that I had typed up and like everything. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're serious about this. And so that was pretty much my aha moment. Is that idea came to mind. I acted on the idea. And it's so crazy that even today, some of my best business, like anything, I tell my staff all the time, it just comes from me. It's just so sporadic. I could be doing anything, and the next great idea, the next big idea could come to mind. So I'm really big as far as making sure when they do come to mind that I jot them down because that's how we got here today.
Wow, man. So you had it, you had the action portion down packed. So then my next question is going to be how long did it take you to take action? Sounds like you got right into the action mode.
Yeah, I don't, not very long. And one thing I've learned about business, you have to just go after it. There's never going to be a perfect time. The stars are never going to align. Even today, with us we're doing it for 4 years. Like things rarely happen in the order and the fashion that I want them to happen. And that's okay because sometimes life just has a better plan design than I can even orchestrate. But yeah, I'm really big on action. I don't really do much like talking or much like, I just kind of throw myself out there and I worry about all the consequences and stuff later. And honestly, I think that the experience that I have learned over the years, no school, no book, like nothing can compare to, just actually throwing myself out there and doing it.
Yes, sir. That's a great mindset to have, man, because to your point, you just have to go for it. You just have to stick your neck out there and just give it a shot. Otherwise, you end up overthinking, overanalyzing, waiting on the perfect time, waiting on the weather to be right, waiting on perfect conditions, and they just don't exist. And I'm glad that you had that mindset at such a young age, man. That's dope.
They don't. And I wish more people just had that same mindset because it doesn't really matter the circumstances. I would tell people I didn't even have a business plan getting into this. And if you Google, some places like before you start, you need a business plan. You really
Right.
don't. Like if you have a passion, if you love something, the only thing you gotta do, put yourself out there, just be consistent. That's one big thing, consistency. A lot of people start stuff and then they don't finish. But if your heart is compelled, even if whatever it is, if your heart is compelled to it, be consistent with it, and you just never know where life may take you.
No doubt. So you had your idea, you took action right away. But in between those two events, the aha moment and action, I believe the bridge that connect the two events is called audacity. It takes audacity to not only come up with an idea, act on it, but to put it out to the world to be praised or criticized. It takes a lot of audacity. Who or what gave you that courage, that audacity to actually go for it?
I would probably say naturally just my personality. Like if you know me, I'm a risk taker, if that makes sense. So I just kind of, again, I just try things. I'm willing to try anything once. And so when I look at Audacity, like, during the time I knew that we offered a valuable service, I knew what we were doing was like, not necessarily new, but it was different. And I knew that I really wasn't worried about like failing at all. And even today, like I didn't worry much about it because I just knew that as long as I did what I needed to do, everything else would just naturally fall in line. And that's literally exactly what happened.
Yes, sir. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So take us back to your first day in business when you got your first client. What was that experience like getting your first paid client?
It was a great experience. Going back to it, I really was just focused on making sure I gave them the best experience. We weren't charging much during the time. A lot of people, of course, when you're trying to get yourself out there, get your foot through the door, you don't. So I was really just focused on giving them so much than what they paid for. And a lot of people are not familiar with tutoring, what that looks like and what that entails. So that experience that we gave those five students was unparalleled. And, we were a smaller team at the point, and I focused in on really getting to know them and, what their needs were, how we could help, and just going from there. And I remember some of those relationships, those five students that we started with, I know that they'll cherish that forever because, we weren't just tutoring them. We were really like on them, making sure that they did what they needed to do, helping them to study and giving them just different resources, tips, tricks, things that work for us. So now these days, I don't really tutor much, but I know that the students that I did work with, I always had that philosophy. I always had that mindset. So I know that hopefully they'll cherish that for years to come. And the great thing is we now have a team of tutors that are able to, deliver on that mission of really just making sure that our clients are happy, and not only happy, that they're excelling academically.
Nice, nice. Keeping the clients first. And you just said something very pivotal and very key. You said you're not tutoring much, so you've actually hired a team and delegated. Let's just talk about that. Like, how powerful is it having a good team behind you?
It's very powerful. It's very powerful. I started with a young lady that I went to school with. So she was like the second tutor. When I first brought her on for like a few weeks, I couldn't necessarily pay her because we weren't really bringing in that much. But she's been with me since, well, until today. She's absolutely amazing. She has transitioned to a corporate role. So now we have like tutors. And then aside from the tutors, we have our corporate staff, our leadership staff. And so it's very essential building a team. I think a lot of people, especially when they have that vision and they know how they want things to be, that it can be a little discouraging, to think that you had to put so much trust into another individual, and expect for them, to care about your brand or your business the way that you do. But I'm thankful that, we have brought the right people on the bus. That's very crucial, and we're continuing to bring more people on the bus who are passionate about education, who understand what we're trying to do here at Better Than Average. Because I tell people all the time, the tutoring is not our only identity. That's what got us through the door. So in the next few years, you may see Better Than Average, the school, you may see multiple locations, you may see a franchise, like, it's just getting started. So it's very crucial for you to have the right team. And I would just encourage any business owner or anyone looking to hire or do anything like that these days. They do have a lot of like online resources that you can go through that are, pretty cost efficient. But as far as building a team, it's been an experience. It takes a lot out of you, but just be committed to just learning, listening to them, learning them on a personal level. And that would be my best advice for that.
Nice, man. That's some great advice. And just the fact that you've been able to build a team, it speaks to your ability to clearly articulate like your vision to those individuals and those individuals being on board with your vision, because I can only imagine how much just in terms of the service you all offer, you have to have somebody on the team that's people first, that's customer service first. So it sounds like you've done a good job of vetting individuals to carry out your vision, and that's what it's all about. Because no one person is an island. We can't do it all. Like where we're strong at, where we're weak at, other people are strong at. So I definitely understand the value of a team, man. That's dope that you built that team over there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's definitely been not necessarily a roller coaster, but
Mm.
and like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't afraid to necessarily mess up. But one thing I can say through all the ups and downs, just dealing with staff in that arena, because I'm pretty sure you know how things are, with staffing these days. I would really just say one, a lot of people love coming to work here at Better Than Average, and I'm really I feel like I'm an unconventional leader. Like I try to really make it enjoyable for the people who do work for me, because it's a commitment. And I think where a lot of business owners and like leaders mess up, it's not a one side relationship with staff and with team. It's like just like you have expectations of them, they have expectations on you. And so I'm a firm believer I have to constantly sell them or do my best on selling them on why they should continue to be here at better than average. Because these days there's so many different avenues, so many different things that you can do. And so that would be some of my advice there. Because a lot of people think like, hey, just because I'm paying them, they march to the beat of my drum. And that's not always true. It's truth to that, but you also want to make sure that you are signing off on all those other things that a paycheck can necessarily account for. And so we've done some great work, and I've learned a lot over the years. And I'm truly thankful for all the people that we have on the bus that have made the commitment to continue to grow the brand and also deliver quality services to our clients.
Yes, sir. That's good stuff. And that transition into my next portion perfectly. Vision. So you've done great things with the company. I know great things are coming down the pipeline. So what are some of your short-term and long-term goals for the company?
Short-term and long-term goals. So one thing that I'm thinking about right now is we are working on accreditation. So we are working on getting accredited. So I'm really excited to see what that process looks like. Short-term goals, just continuing to make sure the right people are on the bus, because we have about a team of like 15 individuals now. But with the growth and the potential that we see, we know that that number will continue to grow. So the right people on the bus, accreditation, and really just working on our systems and processes, honestly, just continuing to build on those, make them better, perfect them, because I always say we can't build off a broken foundation. So right now, a lot of what we're doing is just making sure that we're building this house on a great foundation. And so that would be a short-term goal. Long-term goal would be I kind of mentioned it a little earlier as far as branching out. The tutoring is not the only thing that we want to pursue. We really want to just become an academic, I like to say an academic powerhouse or an academic hub. So whatever that looks like, again, with that school, with multiple locations, with franchise, and I would say that those are some long-term goals, is to be able to hit that pinnacle of success.
Yes, sir. Those are some great short-term and long-term goals, and I have no doubt you'll make them all come to fruition.
Thank you. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. As we wrap up the podcast, I want to ask the million-dollar question. I started this podcast to highlight the greatness of the city, whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college or military. You being a hometown hero, what makes you the most proud to be from Montgomery?
What makes me the most proud to be from Montgomery is really just the history. You have so much and so many great people who have came through Montgomery, and so much great things have happened here at Montgomery. So I really would say what makes me proud to be a Montgomeryan is the history, really the people, and I feel like down south is a smaller city, like it feels like home. So I would say that's what makes me proud to be from Montgomery. I love my city. Hopefully my city loves me. I'm just playing. But I'm really proud to be here from Montgomery. I love the gump.
No doubt, no doubt. So LJ, how can the people connect with you? What are your social media handles and website?
Yeah, most definitely. So first, I will start off with Better Than Average. You can definitely look us up on Facebook, Better Than Average Tutoring, or at BTA Tutors, or you can Google us. You'll see all those nice 5-star reviews, Better Than Average Tutoring on Google. For me, you can connect with me on Facebook, LJ Walker. And yeah, that's really the best way to reach me. Honestly, I don't know if it's appropriate to say this, but I'm going to say it. I'm not really big on social media. I really stay off of it so I can focus on business. So if you do happen to connect with me on there and I'm a little slow, like accepting your request or your or anything like that, please don't take it to heart. It's just simply that one of the people that we'll have on the bus here soon is a social media manager. So they'll be able to be a little bit more active than I am. But please don't take it to heart if you do send a friend request and I'm a little slow getting back to you. It just simply means I'm probably just not on at the time.
Yes, sir, no doubt. And of course, I'll put all of the information in the description of the episode. Hey, LJ, thanks again for the conversation, man. I really appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for the great work you're doing here in the community to just continue to spread the message of all the great things happening.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Until next time.